Welcome, guys, back here to a special edition of the SebyPodcast show with, of course, myself and Shanice Nicole here. But our next guest today is finished his career at Florida State for 3.5 years, graduating for the Seminoles, and is a member of one of the hottest teams in the NBA with us today. Trent Forrest of the Utah Jazz is with us today. Trent, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, guys. Glad to be on here for sure.
Trent, how is it getting just used to traveling city to city, being from Florida? Is it like a cultural shock going on there?
Not really a culture shock. I feel like for me, it's just been, I guess, how long the season is, and like, not saying it's a bad thing, but just how much we travel. I obviously traveled in college a lot, but you go from 30 games to 70, 80 games, get in at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. So just getting used to doing that over a longer haul, I feel like was kind of the biggest adjustment for me.
Talk to me about, you finally getting a chance in the NBA. Obviously, we know that you went undrafted and you had quite a bit of time playing for the Salt Lake City Stars. Now getting a chance and a great situation with the Jazz. How that feeling has been? Has it been surreal? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's been great. Wanting to ask for a better opportunity. So, for me, just taking advantage of everything that's given to me. So, just from being out here, obviously being on the best team, the best record in the league right now. It's been great. I get to learn every day from a lot of good players. So it's all been good.
Speaking of learning, Trent, Donavan Mitchell was really, really high on you. What have you learned from him so far?
A lot. It's so much. I'm with him a lot of the times, always asking him questions, talking to him, and he's always talking to me. So, just from how he sees the game to how he sees the game as a point guard, essentially, especially for me, with me playing that position, things like that. How he works as a professional, why he's as good as he is. I see him in the gym every day working on his game. So, it's a lot of stuff. On the court, off the court, he helps me with a lot.
One of the best things about him is he's got this nickname that Flash, right? Like a Flash 2.0, like a Wade 2.0, an elite first step. So going against him in practices, how is it like? Is he really that dude?
Yeah, he's definitely, quick. Definitely a good first step, athletic. So, I could see why a lot of people kind of like compare him to Dwayne Wade a little bit. I feel like they are comparable, but they're definitely different in some ways too, I feel like. But no, he's definitely as quick and, shifty as what y'all see on TV. Like, that's how it is in real life.
Talk to me about this Jazz team, right? This is a team where obviously a year ago they got knocked out in the first round. They blew a 3-1 lead to Denver. They didn't have Boban last year. What's been the biggest difference from last year to this year? Why did last year they were a 6th seed and this year obviously they're the league's best record? What do you think is the biggest difference for that?
Now I was kind of on the outside looking in last year, so I don't know kind of what their struggles were, but I feel like this year a big part of it is definitely everybody's healthy. It gave those guys, I feel like, another year to play together coming into this year. I know a big part of it was kind of guys like JC, who's a big part of our team. He kind of got traded here at the end of the season last year. So he kind of wasn't, I'm not going to say comfortable, but he was just new to the system. And now, he had the whole off season and this whole season, we've been having everybody together. So I feel like that was a big part of it, just staying healthy and just having everybody kind of in the system for more than kind of a year, I guess.
With you being a rookie and never been to the NBA Finals ever, it's all new to you. How do you mentally and physically prepare for this moment? Because the Utah Jazz do have the best record in the Western Conference.
Yeah, kind of just continue to do what I'm doing by asking questions as much as I can. I got guys that's been there before, so I feel like for me that's kind of how I always been, just learn from the people that's been there. So just asking questions, seeing what things I need to do kind of to get right for it. So I feel like that'll probably be a big part for me.
How was it playing for Leonard Hamilton? He was such a great coach.
Yeah, no, it was great. Like in the recruiting process, I looked at Coach Ham like kind of like a second father, honestly. So just playing for him was easy. I knew the system. It was close to home, only like an hour away. So like going through the recruiting process, I was always able to kind of go watch practices more often than kind of maybe some other recruits was. So I kind of learned the system before I even got to Florida State. So that was a big help. And then like after my freshman and sophomore year was still kind of getting comfortable in a sense, but my junior and senior year, he trusted in me. So it was easy to go out and play and kind of do what he wanted us to do.
Trent, I'm going to throw a date at you, and you let me know what this date means to you. January 5th. January 5th, Trent.
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you.
Season debuted against the New Jersey Nets. Talk to me about that.
It was definitely fun for sure getting in. Probably different than all my other first times, like having a debut, just because you always think of getting to this moment as a kid. So definitely was a little nervous, but definitely kind of just being around the game, I feel like it helped me and kind of calmed the nerves a little bit. So it wasn't too bad.
I want to go back to ACC ball at FSU. There was a lot of players that you played over there in your career, the likes of Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, Joel Berry, Kobe White. Who was the hardest guy that you faced in that conference and in such a prestigious conference for basketball?
It's honestly probably gonna be guys that y'all might not even know. Like through my 4 years, probably two of the toughest was Tyus Battle from Syracuse. Went to Boston. Kyle Bowman from Boston College. Both those guys, they scored they got probably like 37, close to 40 on us, and nobody had ever kind of did that against us. So playing against those two guys, it was definitely a struggle because, I mean, they had it going those nights. And like I said, nobody really ever got really over 30 on us before. So for them to do that, I mean, it was big time.
Trent, could you talk to me a little about your two-way contract with the Utah Jazz as well as their G League team? Has it been a bit challenging trying to just get acclimated to gelling with everyone when you're going back and forth from team to team?
So for me, it really wasn't that hard, honestly. I mean, the G League, they only had the bubble this year for like the month of March. And so I went down there for a couple of days, got to see the guys. I practiced for 2 days, and after that, I came back with the main team. So I didn't even play with the G League the whole season. So I've kind of been up other than, I mean, I literally went down there probably for like 4 days, and then I was gone to come back with the main team. So, I mean, to a sense, it wasn't that hard gelling with those guys. But, I mean, for the most part, I've been with the main team, and I mean, it's been easy fitting in with those guys as well.
I want to take it back obviously to the Jazz here. A lot of guard play. It's a team that has a lot of guard play. Yourself with JC, Donovan. You also have guys like Joe Ingles who can ball handle as well. Has that been a luxury for you guys?
It is. It makes the game a lot easier for us, honestly. Just when you have so many playmakers, the game just comes so much easier for everybody that's on the court.
Where do you think you fit in on this Utah Jazz team as far as being a playmaker?
I mean, I feel like I fit in well because that's a big part of what I do. I've been doing it basically my whole life, and just being able to play with other good players around you. And when everybody can make plays, it makes the game so much easier.
From Florida State, they pride themselves on the defensive end, and that was their identity. That was their edge. Now, probably match made in heaven because the Utah Jazz are the same way. They pride themselves on defense. Is that something that you can bring to this team, that's already in an elite defensive team, along with guys like Gobert and Ingles that are great defenders
Yeah,
themselves.
that as well. It's crazy because coming from Florida State to being with the Utah Jazz, the systems are very similar. So, I mean, like you said, being able to play make and then also defensively, I mean, if you have Rudy back there and Royce, I mean, it's very similar to the guys that I played with at Florida State, with having a 7-footer, with having other guys that can defend at a high level. So I definitely feel like that's going to help a lot.
Yeah, and who do you kind of look to for that defensive just admiration and someone you can just pat your game after on the Utah Jazz team? Do you have someone specifically that you work with?
Not specifically. I honestly look at I learn from all our guys because they're just so good. But defensively, I definitely probably would say Royce. He goes out, he guards the best player every night. And I mean, he's a very good defender. Just to see what he does and how he affects players is crazy.
Talk to me about Rudy Gobert, because he's a guy that obviously he's not as the name brand guy like Jokic or, Anthony Davis in the Western Conference, but very effective, and rightfully so because he's an all-star, but doesn't get the love that he deserves just because he's not flashy like that. But how really good is the Frenchman?
He's very good, and like you said, he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Like they told me, like analytically, he's the best defensive player in the league in the last probably like 5 years, which is crazy. And I feel like if you don't see him in person, then it's hard to really realize how good he is. So he definitely deserves a lot more credit. And like I said, if you were able to see him like in person, you would see how good he really is.
Trent, you talked about having this void missing due to COVID, not being able to go to the Final Four last year. If you were to win a championship with the Utah Jazz, would that make up for that void?
It definitely would. Definitely would.
Coach Quin Snyder is in the running for Coach of the Year. JC is probably leading candidate for Sixth Man of the Year. And Donavan Mitchell, for some reason, his name is not in the charts for MVP, but you guys have a lot of great things going well for you guys. Is this the year that you think that the Jazz finally break through?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we can definitely get there. I mean, like you said, we got a lot of good pieces. I mean, 6-man, probably somebody that definitely should be in the MVP conversation. Probably got the Defensive Player of the Year again, the best coach in the NBA this year. So we have a lot of pieces that could put us where we want to be.
Is there anyone that you played against, you're like, okay, I'm finally here, and this is super exciting, and it was just like a surreal moment?
Yeah, I would say it happened twice. In one of our first preseason games, we were playing the Suns, and CP was playing, and I ended up getting in and just had to guard him, and he was guarding me. So just that whole thing was like I had one of the best point guards to ever play, like right here, and just knowing, like coming from where I come from and being able to be in that position was just like, maybe like you, not that you made it, but like you're here finally. And then when we played the Wizards, just growing up, I was always a big Russell Westbrook fan. So when I finally got to watch him play, I was like, man, it's like really him. So I would say it happened twice for me.
Side note, Sebi, I had a poll on my Instagram story a couple of days ago. I was talking about CP3 and how he's just highly underappreciated.
Right.
So I'm glad that you mentioned CP3 as one of your guys.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer guy.
That's crazy, and obviously Russ is a dog, so that's another great thing. He was like, oh wow, I'm actually going up against Russell Westbrook here. It seems like as if that you guys are kind of still the underdogs. You guys are still playing that role. Not a lot of people are talking you guys coming out of the Western Conference to more Clippers, more Lakers, the flashy teams. Even despite Jamal Murray going down, Denver's still getting some love. But why not y'all? Why not Jazz?
I mean, That's what we let those guys do that, and we go out every night and we play. And I mean, it's been working for us. Honestly, this whole year we haven't got caught up in that. I mean, at the end of the day, we know where we want to get to, and I mean, we've been playing like we deserve to be where we want to. And I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, that's just gonna be what it come down to. We'll let all the media and whatever they can go ahead and say who they feel like is gonna be there, but I mean, we just gonna keep surprising people and doing what we've been doing.
What is the talk like in the locker room when you guys hear those type of chatters? What is coach saying to you guys?
We like honestly, they don't even talk about like anything like that. We honestly just focus on us. We haven't talked about what Phoenix is doing, what either LA teams are doing. We talk about us, and I mean, from like I said kind of earlier, just from me looking at it from the outside in from last year, I mean, they talked about like at the beginning of the season things that they fell short of and what they wanted to correct this year. And so far we've been doing that. So our conversations are more focused on just what we need to do to get better each day.
You guys, obviously I mentioned you guys were a great defensive team. But here's the stat. You guys are the only team this year, top 3 in offense, top 3 in defense. And I think the biggest reason why you guys have been a great offensive team is the ball movement. You see you guys are tops in assists every year, and a lot of players, 6-7 players in double figures. Why has that been so successful in Quin Snyder's system?
I mean, one, go back to the guys that we have. We have a lot of playmakers, a lot of guys that can shoot, score the ball, move the ball, don't need the ball to be efficient in some extent. We have guys that they're going to be effective where they don't have to have the ball a lot. Obviously, you're going to have Don and Rudy, guys that you kind of know are going to have the ball, but then you bring in Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson, Boyan, Mike Conley. Those are guys that not necessarily that you think of like superstars that have to have the ball to be effective. And I feel like that's what worked for us. And I mean, even if you go back a couple of years, you look at Golden State, those guys was doing the same thing and they ended up winning the championship. Everybody was touching the ball was moving. I mean, obviously you had Steph, Clay, KD, but everybody kind of played their role. And I feel like it's hard to beat that when you have guys that can do that very well, and we do that, and we buy into the system.
With having so many guys just participating and very much talented, how have you been able to find like your place, your role within the team?
I feel like a big part of it is just because I ask questions and want to learn. That's honestly been kind of how I went about it. Is just, I mean, I show my respect to those guys because they're obviously there for a reason. We're all here for a reason. So that's just kind of how I went about it. I'm not going to try to come in and force my way in or anything like that into something that I've never been in before. So I mean, ask as many questions, and I feel like they respect that I want to learn as much as I can.
This is one of our favorite segments now, where we get to ask certain questions off the hardwood and off the court with all of our guests. Scenario-like questions, simple. So I'm going to let Shanice start this one today.
The game is called GM, Trent. So I'm just going to throw out some questions for you, and you're just going to give me your best answer. All right?
Okay.
All right. Which city would you start an NBA team in? Seattle or Las Vegas?
Vegas.
Vegas, why?
They're an up and coming city. I feel like in the sports world, they have the Aces already. They're about to have already have the Raiders there. So I feel like that would probably be a big part of it, to have another professional team there. Obviously, a lot of people love coming to Vegas. So, I mean, you know you're going to have fans, and I mean, it's going to be a tourist attraction. So I feel like those kind of 2 to 3 reasons probably would be a big part of why I would.
Buy or sell the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I would say buy. I feel like at some point LeBron Like, I feel like he would probably go back and retire there. So I feel like that would be a big part of it. So I probably would say bye for sure.
Okay. Trade an unhappy superstar for young assets, or keep him and make him play out his contract? Are you keeping James Harden?
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, I probably would let him go. I'm not like, I'm just the type of person in general. Like, if you don't want to be here, I'm not going to try to force you to be here. And obviously, if it's the same way on the other side that you don't want to be there, like I'm respectable of how people feel, so I'm not going to kind of force you into doing something you don't want to do. So I probably would trade him for the younger assets.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, if you were a GM starting a new team, would you draft Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball?
Probably LaMelo. I mean, I guess both to some extent of guard, but I mean, just with me being a point guard and seeing the game kind of in a way that LaMelo would, I probably would go with him.
More favorite coach to play with, Leonard Hamilton or Quin Snyder? Who's more fun to play for?
Bro, that's like honestly a tough question because this, like I said, is like the systems are very similar. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would go with either one any day of the week. Because like I said, bro, it's literally like, to me, it's kind of not deja vu to some extent, but how the concepts and things are is very similar. So I would take either one of those guys.
Gotcha. Flip a coin. I like that question. Answer there. What would be your dream dunk contest?
I like that, Sebby.
As in, like, who would I want to be in it?
Yeah.
Zach LaVine, Derrick Jones, trying to think of who else. Zion.
Yeah.
We have to get Zion in one of those.
Got to get Zion.
Trying to think of who else. Players that's in the league right now.
Currently, yeah.
And then fourth, probably Ja Morant.
Yeah, he can get up there.
Yeah.
So LaVine, Zion, Ja, and Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah, I probably would throw Aaron Gordon back in there again too, because that dunk contest is probably one of the best contests I've seen in a while. So I probably would throw him back in there too.
Surprised you didn't throw Donovan's name there, teammate.
Like, that's the thing, Donovan, like, he'll dunk, but he even like says it to me sometimes. He'd be like, I mean, like, I'll do it if I have to, but I mean, if not, he really don't stress about it. So that's why I probably wouldn't put him in there.
Trent, so many other guys who have came in the league were undrafted. We had some pretty great ones. If you can, could you name, including yourself, so give me your all-time top 5 undrafted team. And I can throw some names out there for you too.
Yeah, can you give me, I don't know too many, I only know a few.
All right, so we have John Starks, Ben Wallace, Wesley Matthews, who else? Bruce Bowen, Rajah Bell, Brad Miller, David Wesley.
Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, so I was definitely going to put Fred VanVleet in there. I would definitely put Ben Wallace in there. I would put myself in there. Bruce Bowen. And the 5th, probably would go with Rajah Bell. That's kind of one of the names I kind of remember, so I probably would put him in there.
You guys are killing defensively. Bruce Bowen and Rajah Bell.
Wesley Matthews, crazy. Definitely there. What's the vibe when what you listening to before the game? Like, you listen to some Baby?
Yeah.
Is it Sign Language too? So what do you listen to before ball games?
Right now, definitely Lil Baby. Gotta have Rod Wave in there. You know that from Florida, so gotta have him.
Boy, that's right. Yeah.
Slime language too, so Gunna, Thug. Gotta throw a little bit of Drake in there sometimes. But I say mostly it's probably gonna be Baby, Gunna, Young Thug, and probably Rod Wave.
I love it. Trent, what's up with the, are you bumping any 90s music? I know you're about, what, 22?
Yeah, I'm 22, so I caught the late 90s. I have an older playlist, so I tap into that as well. I mean, it just be days when I be feeling that type of vibe, so I kind of play that playlist all day. So,
What do you do off the court? Like, what is your hobbies or anything that you're interested in outside of basketball or that you do on your spare time?
yeah, I'll say probably like clothes, shoes, kind of fashion, that a little bit. I like to spend a lot of time with my family, just my mom, my brother. My brother has 2 kids, so my niece and my nephew, I love to spend time with them. I'm not really a big gamer. I really don't, outside of kind of those two, I really don't do too much. I just kind of be chilling, whatever kind of happens. So that's kind of how I go about it. But yeah, I probably would say fashion and probably my family.
I know we've, of course, been, in this pandemic. You haven't had a chance to really get out there and enjoy kind of the NBA life or to be out with your teammates. But so far, what's just the craziest night you've gotten into with your teammates without getting yourself in trouble?
Honestly, probably just plane rides back. That's really the only like after games. That's really the only time we all can be kind of together in one spot. So, like we'll play cards, listen to music. I mean, whatever. If it's a long plane ride, so I probably would say that because, like I said, that's the only time we really be together at one time outside of the kind of if we're at practice or at a game. So I would definitely say that.
What's one of the best things to do in Salt Lake City? Like, have you skied before? Have you done bobsledding or anything like that?
No,
I know you're a Florida guy, but it's out of your element.
I haven't did none of that. But I mean, if you go out there, that's definitely why most people go is to go skiing, go to the mountains. So that's probably the biggest attraction out there is going to the mountains. So that's one of the big things.
That's really, really awesome, Trent. We really enjoyed having you here.
It's been a pleasure, and best of luck to you and the Jazz as you guys try to conquer a title.
Yes.
Hey, Stockton Malone couldn't do it. It's up to you guys.
Exactly.